Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is DKL, and welcome to Hunger Games. It's early September, which means it is time to get ready for the spooky season. So I thought that we would take a bunch of horror movie characters and throw them into the Hunger Games. So, as you can see, I have picked out 24 horror movie characters. So, we have Michael Myers, Ghostface, Chucky, Leatherface, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, Candyman, Norman Bates, Mrs. Voorhees, Hannibal Lecter, Pennywise, Jigsaw, Pinhead, Jack Torrance, Annabelle, Samara Morgan, Tom Hanniger from My Bloody Valentine, Patrick Bateman, Carrie Lubden, the Leprechaun, Captain Spaulding, Springtrap, Mama, and Jaws. So we have all kinds of killers, mostly slashers, but that's just because I like slashers. And my favorite is actually Michael Myers. That's why I put him first. He was the first one I thought of. As you can see, well, you probably can't. Ooh, whoops. I've got Michael Meowers poster hanging up right there. It's really cool. I like it. And then I've also got the newest Halloween trilogy books. So anyway, let us proceed. As the tributes stand on the podiums, the horn sounds. Lubden runs away from the cornucopia. Pinhead breaks Jaws' nose for a basket of bread. I knew weird stuff like this was gonna happen. I mean, I did throw a shark into this, but I didn't expect it to happen so soon. Alright, Freddy Krueger runs away from the cornucopia. Michael Myers grabs a shield leaning on the cornucopia. Jason Voorhees runs away from the cornucopia. Hannibal Lecter stabs Jigsaw in the back with a trident. Captain Spaulding runs away from the cornucopia. Patrick Bateman grabs a sword. Jack Torrance runs away from the cornucopia. Candyman grabs a backpack, not realizing it is empty. Mama runs away from the cornucopia. Leatherface runs away from the cornucopia. Carrie finds Springtrap hiding in the cornucopia and kills him. Huh? Also, hold on, I'm going to turn the music up a little bit. There we go. Now we're vibing. Huh? How did this happen? Anyway, Mrs. Voorhees runs away from the cornucopia. Tom Hanniger runs away from the cornucopia. Pennywise gathers as much food as he can. Ghostface runs away from the cornucopia. Norman Bates runs away from the cornucopia. Samara Morgan grabs a shield leaning on the cornucopia. And Chucky breaks Annabelle's nose for a basket of bread. Oh boy, the dolls are fighting each other. Samara Morgan falls into a frozen lake and drowns. Alright. Jack Torrance sprains his ankle while running away from Leatherface. Candyman begs for Norman Bates to kill him. He refuses, keeping Candyman alive. Michael Myers stabs Hannibal Lecter with a tree branch. I can see that. Carrie sprains her ankle while running away from Freddy Krueger. Understandable. Chucky tries to spear fish with a trident. Jaws receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Jason Voorhees receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Pennywise makes a wooden spear. Tom Hanniger begs for Patrick Bateman to kill him. He refuses, keeping Tom Hanniger alive. Annabelle begs for Mrs. Voorhees to kill her. She refuses, keeping Annabelle alive. Ghostface and Lubden hunt for other tributes. Pinhead searches for firewood. Mama searches for a water source. And Captain Spaulding picks flowers. And there are the dead. Jigsaw from the Saw franchise. Springtrap from Five Nights at Freddy's. Samara Morgan from The Ring, and a Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs. Jaws tries to treat her infection. Carrie destroys Annabelle's supplies while she is asleep. Tom Hanniger tries to treat his infection. Pennywise, Norman Bates, Mama, and Freddy Krueger track down and kill Leatherface. Jason Voorhees is awoken by nightmares. Dude, you are the nightmare. What are you talking about? Jack Torrance convinces Michael Myers to snuggle with him. Cool. Cool. Yeah, sure. Pinhead thinks about home. What, hell? You think about home? Your home is hell. Candyman fends Chucky, Ghostface, and Captain Spaulding away from his fire. Loveden attempts to climb a tree but falls to his death. Figures. Patrick Bateman and Mrs. Voorhees sleep in shifts. I am never going to get over this. Convinces Michael Myers to snuggle? That is the best sentence I have ever read in my life. Jack Torrance convinces Michael Myers to snuggle. Alright. Pinhead hunts for other tributes. Jack Torrance makes a wooden spear after snuggling with Michael Myers. Mama tries to sleep through the entire day. Jaws bashes Jason Voorhees' head against a rock several times. I don't know how he managed to do that, but good job. Annabelle receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Captain Spaulding runs away from Candyman. Freddy Krueger scares Michael Myers off. I'm starting to think this isn't actually Michael Myers. This is an imposter. This is an imposter wearing his mask. Patrick Bateman tries to spearfish with a trident. Mrs. Voorhees collects fruit from a tree. Carrie diverts Pennywise's attention and runs away. Chucky explores the arena. Norman Bates diverts Tom Hanniger's attention and runs away. Ghostface receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. 3 dead. Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Loveden from The Leprechaun, and Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th, which falls in October this year, so everybody better be celebrating that. Mama and Michael Myers run into each other and decide to truce for the night. So, homicidal ghost meets homicidal whatever Michael is. He's kind of supernatural, but more human seeming than Mama. And they're gonna work together. Chucky loses sight of where he is. Ghostface receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Candyman, Tom Hanniger, Captain Spaulding, and Jaws tell each other ghost stories to lighten the mood. How? Oh yeah, that's a great story, Jaws. Oh yeah, I like that was a good story. Freddy Krueger thinks about winning. Norman Bates looks at the night sky. Mrs. Voorhees sets a fire, but sees a fire, but stays hidden. Carrie tends to her wounds. Pennywise passes out from exhaustion. Annabelle cries herself to sleep. Pinhead and Jack Torrance talk about the tribute still alive. So, get this, Masterson. I cuddled with Michael Myers. It was pretty great. Who knew the boogeyman was so good at snuggling? Well, I mean, Michael was like an ordinary boy up until the age of like 6. Patrick Bateman thinks about home. Tom Hanniger goes hunting. Day 3, by the way. It's day 3. Tom Hanniger goes hunting. Candyman chases Freddy Krueger. Well, that's an interesting fight. Patrick Bateman, Mama, Michael Myers, Norman Bates, and Chucky hunt for other tributes. Carrie receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Jack Torrance shoots an arrow into Jaws' head. Jack did not like Jaws' stories. Captain Spaulding and Ghostface work together for the day. Pennywise diverts Pinhead's attention and runs away. Annabelle makes a slingshot, and Mrs. Voorhees tries to sleep through the entire day. Only Jaws died from Jaws, and I'm saying that so that anybody who I'm saying like who these characters are from, for anybody who's not entirely familiar with the characters, and also to kind of show off my horror knowledge. Annabelle passes out from exhaustion. It's night 3. Mrs. Voorhees... That night 3 would be a bit more dramatic if Springtrap was still alive, but he died, like, immediately. Mrs. Voorhees begs for Norman Bates to kill her. He refuses, keeping Mrs. Voorhees alive. Tom Hanniger cooks his food before putting his fire out. Michael Myers questions his sanity. About time. Pinhead passes out from exhaustion. Carrie thinks about winning. Ghostface cries himself to sleep. I'm gonna give the music a little bit more volume real quick. There we go. Carrie thinks about winning. Ghostface cries himself to sleep. Mama questions her sanity. Pennywise and Patrick Bateman hold hands. Candyman throws a knife into Jack Torrance's head. Captain Spaulding, Freddy Krueger, and Chucky cheerfully sing songs together. I'm gonna kill them all, 'cause I'm a psychopath. What kind of songs are they singing? Are they singing? They're singing some Ice Nine Kills? Pinhead collects fruit from a tree. Mrs. Voorhees and Chucky fight Freddy Krueger and Patrick Bateman. Miss Voorhees and Chucky survive. So Miss Voorhees and Chucky killed Freddy and Patrick Bateman. Captain Spaulding, Mama, Tom Hanniger, Ghostface, and Norman Bates hunt for other tributes. Annabelle kills Pennywise while he is resting. Michael Myers practices his archery. I don't know why, I kind of just assumed that Michael Myers would be a master at archery because, you know, it's a method of kill. Carrie searches for a water source. Candyman makes a slingshot. Jack Torrance from The Shining. 4 people are dead. Jack Torrance from The Shining. Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street. Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. And Pennywise from It. And It Chapter 2. Tom Hanniger sets an explosive off, killing Chucky, Michael Myers, and Norman Bates. Why'd you have to go and kill Chucky? I mean, Michael. I don't care about Chucky. Why'd you have to kill Michael? I hear he's an excellent snuggler. Annabelle cooks her food before putting her fire out. Candyman sees a fire but stays hidden. I think he saw Annabelle's fire. Mama and Pinhead tell stories about themselves to each other. Miss Voorhees accidentally steps on a landmine. Carrie tends to her wounds, and Ghostface decapitates Captain Spaulding with a sword. That's the most brutally Ghostface has ever killed. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen any of the new movies yet. The feast. Candyman kills Carrie with her own weapon. Pinhead decides not to go to the feast. Ghostface destroys Tom Hanniger's memoirs out of spite. And Mama destroys Annabelle's memoirs out of spite. Cool. Annabelle tries to sleep through the entire day. Candyman stabs Pinhead with a tree branch. Ghostface makes a slingshot, and Tom Hanniger kills Mama with a sickle. How do you manage to kill a ghost with a sickle? A volcano. As Candyman trips over Ghostface into the lava, he grabs him and pulls him down with him. Annabelle dips her weapon into the lava and kills Tom Hanniger with it. Chucky from Child's Play and Chucky. 11 people died. Chucky from Child's Play and Chucky. Michael Myers from the Halloween franchise. Norman Bates from Psycho. Mrs. Voorhees from the first Friday the 13th movie. Well, she's technically in more than that one, but the first one. Captain Spaulding from House of a Thousand Corpses is what it's called, right? I'm blanking. Carrie from Carrie. Pinhead from Hellraiser. Mama from Mama. Candyman from Candyman. Ghostface from Scream, and Tom Hanniger from My Bloody Valentine. Congratulations to Annabelle from Annabelle. / The Conjuring. Right? Here are the placements. Jigsaw was the first to dive. See, why did Springtrap go so early? So there it all is again. Kills. Tom Hanniger got the most kills with 4. And then Candyman with 3. Chucky, Miss Voorhees, and Annabelle with 2. And then Jaws, Freddy Krueger, Norman Bates, Hannibal Lecter, Pennywise, Ghostface, Michael Myers, Carrie, Mama, and Jack Torrance, all with 1. Alright, let's go again. So everybody's back alive. Magic, resurrection, that kind of thing. It's common in horror. I mean, Springtrap's there. They all... So, he's like rubbing off on all the others because he always comes back. Captain Spaulding grabs a... as the tributes stand on their podiums, the horn sounds. Captain Spaulding grabs a backpack and retreats. Ghostface snatches a bottle of alcohol and a rag. Freddy Krueger finds a bow, some arrows, and a quiver. Chucky grabs a shield leaning on the cornucopia. Jaws finds a bow, some arrows, and a quiver. Lubden snatches a pair of sais. Michael Myers runs away from the cornucopia. Runs? He runs? Let me quickly make sure this music's on repeat so that... Yes. Okay. Anyway, Michael Myers runs? It's not a thing. Patrick Bateman finds a bow, some arrows, and a quiver. Tom Hanniger takes a sickle from inside the cornucopia. Leatherface breaks Jack Torrance's nose for a basket of bread. Pinhead runs away from the cornucopia. Mama runs away. Samara Morgan runs away with a lighter and some rope. Hannibal Lecter finds a bow, some arrows, and a quiver. Jigsaw runs away. Candyman runs away. Carrie runs away. Norman Bates runs away. Annabelle runs away. Springtrap runs away. Jason Voorhees takes a handful of throwing knives. Mrs. Voorhees runs away. Pennywise cannot handle the circumstance and offs himself. Alright. Captain Spaulding tends to Patrick Bateman's wounds. Candyman, Springtrap, Mama, and Mrs. Voorhees hunt for other tributes. Interesting. So, 3 beings that are somewhat in some way undead, and then some woman. Just, why not? Bring her along. Annabelle injures herself. She's a doll. Hannibal Lecter tries to sleep through the entire day. Tom Hanniger makes a slingshot. Jigsaw receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Norman Bates discovers a cave. Jack Torrance chases Lubden. Leatherface camouflages himself in the bushes. Carrie receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Ghostface picks flowers. Samara Morgan runs away from Jaws. Understandable. If I saw a shark on land, I would probably want to get the heck out of there too. Jason Voorhees thinks about home. Chucky defeats Michael Myers in a fight but spares his life. I don't see that happening. Pinhead attacks Freddy Krueger, but he manages to escape. The only person who died on day one was Pennywise. Night 1. Captain Spaulding and Freddy Krueger hold hands. Leatherface and Carrie run into each other for the night and decide to truce for the night. Jason Voorhees unknowingly eats toxic berries. Whoops. Jigsaw is unable to start a fire and sleeps without warmth. Lubden fends Chucky, Pinhead, and Springtrap away from his fire. Candyman tries to sing himself to sleep. Ghostface receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Samara Morgan receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Jaws convinces Patrick Bateman to snuggle with her. And I thought snuggling with Michael Myers was funny, but that's a literal shark. So cuddly. Michael Myers loses sight of where he is. Jack Torrance sets up camp for the night. Mama looks at the night sky. Norman Bates cooks his food before putting his fire out. Hannibal Lecter climbs a tree to rest. Mrs. Voorhees dies from hunger. Tom Hanniger goes to sleep. Annabelle receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Day 2. Jigsaw sees smoke rising in the distance, but decides not to investigate. Mama defeats Lubden in a fight, but spares his life. Michael Myers, Hannibal Lecter, Patrick Bateman, and Ghostface raid Norman Bates' camp while he is hunting. Springtrap picks flowers. How wonderful. Pinhead overhears Samara Morgan and Annabelle talking in the distance. Freddy Krueger tends to Carrie's wounds. Oh no, she's not wounded. She just tends to have blood all over her. Chucky sprains his ankle while running away from Jaws. Tom Hanniger, Captain Spaulding, Leatherface, and Candyman hunt for their tributes. Jack Torrance receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Aw, the Voorheeses both died. Captain Spaulding, Tom Hanniger, Springtrap, and Samara Morgan sleep in shifts. It's night 2, by the way. Pinhead cooks his food before putting his fire out. Norman Bates, Hannibal Lecter, Jack Torrance, Leatherface, and Candyman sleep in shifts. It happened again. Ghostface convinces Michael Myers to snuggle with him. That's so cute. Let the fan art commence. Chucky is awoken by nightmares. Patrick Bateman, Jigsaw, and Jaws get into a fight. Jigsaw triumphantly kills them both. Interesting. Lubden and Freddy Krueger sleep in shifts. Carrie, Annabelle, and Mama sleep in shifts. Candyman attacks Hannibal Lecter, but he manages to escape. Samara Morgan and Leatherface split up to search for resources. Springtrap makes a wooden spear. Norman Bates makes a slingshot. Pinhead searches for a water source. Freddy Krueger makes a wooden spear. Jigsaw, Captain Spaulding, Annabelle, and Mama hunt for other tributes. Ghostface receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Carrie begs for Jack Torrance to kill her. He refuses, keeping Carrie alive. Chucky collects fruit from a tree. Lubden receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Tom Hanniger collects fruit from a tree. Michael Myers sees smoke rising in the distance, but decides not to investigate. Alright, let's proceed. Arena event. Monkey mutts fill the arena. Jigsaw injures Captain Spaulding and leaves him for the monkey mutts. Mama survives. Ghostface injures Hannibal Lecter and leaves him for the monkey mutts. Oh, Michael Myers dies from internal bleeding caused by a monkey mutt. Freddy Krueger dies from internal bleeding caused by a monkey mutt. Candyman dies from internal bleeding caused by a monkey mutt. Lupton survives. Pinhead survives. Carrie survives. Annabelle survives. Samara Morgan survives. While running, Springtrap falls over and grabs Norman Bates on the way down. The monkey mutts kill them. Shut up. Chucky survives. Tom Hanniger dies from internal bleeding caused by a monkey mutt. Jack Torrance is pummeled to the ground and killed by a troop of monkey mutts. And Leatherface survives. 11 people died. Patrick Bateman, Jaws, Captain Spaulding, Hannibal Lecter, Michael Myers, no! Freddy Krueger, Candyman, Springtrap, no! Norman Bates, Tom Hanniger, Jack Torrance. Alright, so now who am I gonna root for? I don't know, I guess I'll root for Ghostface now. Whoa. Jigsaw's got 3 kills. Alright, proceed. Pinhead screams for help. I don't recommend that, dude. I don't care if you're from hell. Don't scream. That just draws attention to you. Jigsaw fends Annabelle, Chucky, and Carrie away from this fire. Samara Morgan receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Lubden receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Mama sets up camp for the night. Ghostface tends to his wounds. The Leatherface loses sight of where he is. Chucky kills Lubden while he is resting. Pinhead receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Samara Morgan and Annabelle work together for the day. Jigsaw steals from Carrie while she isn't looking. Mama and Ghostface work together for the day. Well, they both do have like a ghost theme going on. Leatherface constructs a shack. And that's it for that day. Just Lubden. Night 4. Jigsaw climbs a tree to rest. Ghostface looks at the night sky. Mama passes out from exhaustion. Samara Morgan receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Annabelle falls into a frozen lake and drowns. I didn't know dolls could drown. Pinhead convinces Chucky not to kill him, only to kill him instead. Which means Pinhead killed Chucky, by the way. I know it plays the pronoun game. Carrie dies from infection, and Leatherface receives a hatchet. The feast. The cornucopia is replenished with food, supplies, weapons, and memoirs from the tribute's families. Jigsaw, Leatherface, Mama, and Ghostface form a suicide pact, killing themselves. Pinhead and Samara Morgan both decide not to go to the feast. And Samara Morgan convinces Pinhead not to kill her? How did you do that? She was the last one, and he's literally from hell. Killing is kind of his job. Only to kill him instead. Cool. Good job, Samara Morgan from The Ring. Well, there are the placings. No, Michael. No, Springtrap. Oh, Ghostface. There's everything that happened. Kills. Not a lot of people did any killing. Alright, well, I guess I'll end this here. Maybe I'll do this again at some point. This was kind of fun. It's kind of stupid, but kind of fun. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribing would be pretty nice. Having said that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!